Hello and welcome back to Mondays Are for the Nerds. I am Jay Wright.
And I am Tristan Stump.
Thank you for joining us again for episode 3
of Mondays Are for the Nerds. Hope your Monday is going well. How has your week gone, Jay?
It went pretty good. I finished box 1 of the Titanic of 3, as noted last week. Got into, I won't say not quite halfway into season 2 of Cheers, but enough where I'm really loving it. My favorite thing that happened this week, though, was I saw Hitman before it drops on Netflix next week. It is so good. It's one of my most highly anticipated movies of the year. Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona. It's a rom-com, but it's also like action-y-ish, and it turns into like a thriller in like the third act.
Kind of like
Thriller mystery-esque. It's not like a David Fincher thriller, but
is it kind of like that one? It had a Netflix movie with The Rock in it. That was
Red Notice.
Yeah,
with him and Ryan Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that, only with more like rom-com. Like it's definitely
stuff.
more heavily toned romance.
Oh, okay.
But it's still got like it's hilarious. It's enough of like, of course, my review, I put it up on Facebook. It's like got some philosophical tones to it, and it's also like it's co-wrote by Glenn Powell.
Okay.
And Richard Linklater. Loved it. And this leads into something that I teased you about that I haven't revealed yet. After seeing Hitman and expounding upon it, I think Chris Pratt might have a serious running to be dethroned as my favorite actor of all time.
Oh, wow.
By Glenn Powell.
That's
a big thing. Anyone who knows me knows that is a huge deal.
That's a breakthrough, man.
Exactly.
You know,
I'm not sure yet, but they're neck and neck.
Because
like Twisters might put it over the edge this summer.
Yeah, Chris Pratt being your favorite actor has been like a whole thing since
at least a decade.
Yeah, so I mean, dating all the way back to the pen that you had.
Shout out to little Chrissy.
The pen is a funny story that I don't know if we have time to share this time, but maybe in the future we will share the story of little Chrissy, the Chris Pratt pen, because that thing is legendary.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
he's seen some things.
That's wild.
Yeah, he might. I don't know yet. Like I said, Twisters might have to wait till Twisters comes out, but Glenn Powell is like popping right now. He's got so much stuff coming out.
You have name dropped him a lot the last.
I have. He is my second favorite. But yeah, that's what happened to me this week. Pretty eventful, and I can't excite. I definitely recommend seeing it on Netflix when it drops. To anyone out there, watch Hitman on Netflix when it drops on June 7th next week. What happened to you this week?
Well, one of the things, we'll be talking about later, which I feel like I'm going to say that a lot because I'm usually on top of like, new releases for things.
Yeah.
But I also played more Paper Mario. I haven't had a whole lot of time to play games this week, honestly, but I got to chapter 3 of the game, which is one of the best of 8, yes, which is one of the best chapters in the game, like in my opinion, and the remake only makes it better for the music. The music is just so good. I wish Nintendo would release their soundtracks on.
Do they not?
Not a whole lot. They did. I know Mario Galaxy 2 had some kind of soundtrack release, but Nintendo's very weird about what they do and don't release, and soundtracks is just one of the ones that they just don't. Video game soundtracks just don't release CDs or albums or whatever a whole lot on.
That is true.
You kind of have to find them through other means. So I played that. So there's a partner in the game that, this isn't a spoiler because he's on the front cover. You get a little baby Yoshi as a partner, and depending on how much time has passed when his egg joins you is what his color is different.
Yeah.
So if
he's kind of like ripening a fruit.
Yeah. So within the first 6 minutes of him joining you, if you get to the point where he hatches in 6 minutes, then he will be green. If you do it after that, he has a chance to be like blue, red, orange, pink, white, and black. I think those are all the colors.
Black Yoshi sounds dope.
I got Orange Yoshi. I had to speed through the first half of the chapter, so if there were any dialogue changes, I didn't quite see that because they didn't talk to a whole lot of people because I needed that Orange Yoshi so bad. But once he hatches, then the rest of the chapter, and that's just kind of, I know the chapter so well that I don't mind speeding through it because I've played it a million bajillion times. But yeah, so I got the Orange Yoshi. I was quite pleased. I named him Yoshifer. You get to name him, so I named him Yoshifer because like most of the other partners that join you have like their names are based on the species they are. So like the Goomba is Goombella,
Yeah.
and the Koopa is Koops, and there's a Bob-omb that joins you named Admiral Bobbery. He is the saddest character in the game.
Does he have like a war history?
I'll explain it to you, and then I'm going to cut this out because I don't want to leave in spoilers.
Fair.
But the only reason he joins you is because... Well, he won't join you because he...
Oh, no.
And so you talk him into it, though, by going and talking to an old friend of his, the bartender, who gives you a letter that... And you hand it to him, and he reads it, and it's... So that's what gets him to rejoin you.
They went a realistic way of making it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how much of that I'll leave in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of major
You just
spoilers.
slapped me with like a depression.
Does that bring you up to 88% or? But so yeah, that's what I did this week. A little bit of that, a little bit of Paper Mario. I really didn't watch anything new because I didn't have time. If I wasn't at work, I was working on getting ready for work the next day or doing errands for people. So.
Yeah. Should we launch into our releases this week?
Yep. Some of our news from the past week.
All right. So Friday, May 30th, or May 31st, sorry. We didn't get much releases. Usually the weekend after Memorial Day is not too heavy. We got Ezra, released in theaters, follows Max Brandel, a once successful late-night comedy writer, turned less successful stand-up comedian who struggles through the failure of his career and marriage. After moving in with his father, Max, and his ex-wife, Jenna, remain at odds on how to best raise their autistic son, Ezra. I believe Robert De Niro is in that. Black Spot, released in theaters, an ambitious cheerleader, faces both new adversity and the increased drive for perfection and triumph when she and her girlfriend are selected for an all-star cheer squad and its demanding head coach, played by Evan Rachel Wood. An anime released in theaters, Haikyuu, The Dumpster Battle. Very rare to hear an anime from me. Released in theaters.
Haikyuu, I believe that is a volleyball anime.
Yeah. Shoho Hinata joins Karasuno High's volleyball club to be like his idol, a former Karasuno player known as the Little Giant. Disney Plus got the release of Jim Henson Idea Man, the documentary. I do want to watch that.
I really do want to watch that. Although I saw there's a YouTuber that he's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's a big Muppet fan, and he tweeted something about like wondering if the documentary even has any new info for people who haven't read who have already read like his autobiography. I don't think he has an autobiography. I think he just has a biography.
Yeah. We got two more theatrical releases and a Violent Nature release this week, which is a horror film shot from the perspective of the killer. And then A Young Woman and the Sea started a limited release in theaters this week, starring Daisy Ridley. It tells the story of Gertrude Ederle, an American swimming champion who first won a gold medal at the 1924 Olympic Games, and then in 1926 became the first woman to swim 21 miles across the English Channel. In the TV world, on Tuesday, May 28th, we got some cable TV premieres. Season 19 of America's Got Talent premiered on NBC, followed by the Season 1B premiere of Password, which just means it returned from hiatus, both on NBC. And then on Fox, we got the Season 7 premiere of Beat Shazam, and the series premiere of The Quiz with Balls, hosted by Jay Farrow. Thursday, May 30th, we got the Season 2 of Die Hart, called Die Hart 2, Die Harter, starring Kevin Hart. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that was like a Roku original.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen Season 1. And then the limited series, Eric, dropped on Netflix, starring Benedict Cumberbatch as like a dad whose kid goes missing in 1980s New York. Friday, May 31st, Season 3 of The Outlaws premiered on Amazon Prime Video, and Season 2 of Frog and Toad premiered on Apple TV+. And then today, June 1st, Total Drama Island premiered. Season 6 on Cartoon Network started for the U.S.
Yes, it premiered in Canada last year.
The U.S. premiere was today.
It seemed, like the trailer I saw seemed interesting. They changed the theme song, not the tune, they just changed the lyrics. And I don't quite like the new I feel like there are things about the old series that you could change when you reboot it. I think it's a soft reboot.
I think that's
because it doesn't acknowledge the earlier seasons from what I can tell, but it's got the same host and the same chef is still there. But it seems interesting. The new character designs seem fine. I've heard mixed things on the season from fans of the original.
That's all I got on releases this week.
I got some gaming releases for us. Monday the 27th saw the release of the roguelite game, The Rogue Prince of Persia from Ubisoft on PC and early access, which is like, that's a quick turnaround from the last Prince of Persia game, which only came out in March, I
I
think.
don't remember. I feel like it hasn't been too long.
It's not been too long since it released. Tuesday the 28th, the console release for the 2021 action-adventure game Seed of Life happened, as well as Multiverses officially launching.
Oh, yeah.
We will be talking about that momentarily. Wednesday the 29th, the tactical superhero RPG Capes released on all major consoles and PC. The indie game Nine Souls from developers Red Candle Games. It's a 2D hand-drawn, lore-rich, side-scrolling Metroidvania in the same vein as Hollow Knight. I don't know if you've heard of Hollow Knight.
I feel like I've heard of it.
It's a very good game. It's hard on purpose, but that's what makes it fun.
I think I might have heard you talk about
Nine
it.
Souls looked cool. I liked the art. Thursday the 30th, the exploration indie game Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip released on PC. That game looks hilarious.
I feel like that's something I love. It's kind of like the Duck.
It's
one
kind of
last
like
week.
the duck one from last week.
I feel like I would have a blast playing that.
I looked up some screenshots, and I laughed looking at the screenshots. I haven't even played the game. There was also Marvel's What If, an immersive story that released for Apple Vision
right.
Pro.
That's right.
And Choose Your Own Adventure. I don't know if... I guess it's a game.
Choose Your Own
It's
Adventure,
like
I
a
feel
Choose Your
like
Own
maybe.
Adventure. It's an interactive movie from what I can tell, which another game we're going to be talking about later with the announcement is basically that too. So the indie company NT Creates released their 2D platformer game Umbra Claw about a house cat who dies and must traverse the underworld to return to her owner. And on Friday the 31st, EA Sports released F1 24 on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. That is my game releases for this week.
You want to talk about multiverses?
Yeah, multiverses. So I've been playing day one. I've been playing every day. I have thoughts, including
Do you have a main yet?
Oh yeah, it's still Velma, and it's starting to lean towards Arya though, because they made Velma bad. They changed things about her that wouldn't be bad if it wasn't for the fact that they slowed down the game a bit and they made her even slower. So they just need to adjust that a little bit, and she might actually be playable.
Continue to be your main.
Yeah. Other than that, like, I have some things with the game that I wish they would change. Like the speed. I don't mind the slowed down speed as much as most people seem to be like complaining about it. I think it's fine. I adjusted well, and that might be me growing up playing Brawl, hours upon hours of Brawl, which is the slowest Smash game. Yes.
You know what?
Yes, I know why you're smiling. So yeah, the speed needs just sped up just a tiny bit. Not sped up all the way to what it was before. I like that the game feels floaty and is a little slower because it makes you think about how you're attacking, like how you're actually going to combo people instead of just mashing buttons and letting, whatever happen. That, and a lot of the complaints I'm seeing are from professional like fighting game players.
Yeah.
And it's a free-to-play game. So it's going to be made with casual players predominantly in mind. And that being said, it's free to play, so a lot of the criticism I've seen, and some criticism I do have, is the progression. Even from open beta, it's even worse before. So you only get battle pass experience from missions instead of playing the game.
Yeah.
So yes, you play the game to complete missions, but once you're done with daily missions, you don't have any reason to play the game anymore, and you'll probably be done with your daily missions in an hour if you go out of your way to complete them.
Yeah.
So they need to give you a reason to play the game other than just doing your daily missions, because I would play it more, but here I've only been playing like, an hour and a half to complete my missions, and then I go and do something else because there's no reason. But I don't want to rag on the game too much. It's very fun. The new characters, Jason and Joker, are
I feel like
extremely
Jason would
fun.
be Have you played as Agent Smith yet?
Agent Smith is not unlockable yet.
Oh, okay.
Technically you can unlock him early. They have a thing that lets you unlock him early, but there is not enough to do in the game to meet the requirements to unlock him yet. But that'll be happening soon. It's been said that the requirements will be added.
I feel like Jason
soon.
would be like my main if I were to play it, because he sounds brutal.
His moves, if like I've come across players that obviously don't know what they're doing with him because he's a big guy.
Me.
So he's can be easy to hit and just like knock out of the park. If the person who's playing as him knows what he's doing, you are probably not going to survive very much unless you're on his same skill level, which it's 50-50 whether or not on their skill level. Because I played the game a lot. I don't like to brag about myself and say I'm good, but I'm decent.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that I had some people rage quit me when I was fighting them as Arya Stark. So that's why Arya Stark's my main right now, because I can actually play the game with her. And Velma, I'll play with her some, but she just they need to fix her.
Yeah.
They need to make some tweaks to make the game a little more. But the game, it hasn't even been out a week yet. So like all this feedback we're giving
They're
them,
like premature.
yeah, even though this is the full launch, so there's some things they probably should have done a little better, but it's only been out a week. These are things they can adjust and tweak in due time. So
You tell me I can't button smash like I do with Rob?
I mean, yes, but it might not end well.
I can button smash with Jason.
You-
Send you off the map.
Maybe.
Throw you down with my axe.
Superman is probably a character that's more for that kind of.
Because you know that's the only way I play.
Yeah. Here, sometime when we have free time, I'll have you sit down because there is local play. Like we could play together locally. Sit down and
That's
do
what
that.
my main is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Jason because he seems like something that's easy to. My small brain can only handle so much.
Yeah. Jason, what other characters? Superman, Shaggy, Wonder Woman. Those are probably, like I would say, Jason might be the next step up from trying character. If you've never played a fighting game, they give you Shaggy if you never played the game before. You get Shaggy unlocked and then everyone else is locked. You get 4 characters on a rotation every few weeks. They will be locked and 4 other characters will replace them in the roster. But if you keep playing the game and you just grind the game, you get currency to play the fighters without having to pay for the premium currency, or you can just play with the premium currency. And a lot of people are complaining about that, but that's just free to play.
Yeah.
This is a fighting game that's free to play, so it's people aren't, I don't think, expecting it as much because it's a fighting game, but it's still going to have free to play things. It's still being ran. It's still ultimately a game owned by Warner Brothers, who are going to make the decisions that tick consumers off. But I encourage people to play it and just kind of stick through this rough landing because it's a good landing. Like a lot of people are having fun. It's just a lot of people are complaining about it.
Yeah.
And I encourage people to just play it.
Tough it out.
Tough it out because it will get better. The team is it's a very small team for one. So some of these mistakes are just because of the fact that they're a small team.
Yeah.
And they wanted to listen to feedback. And I think they listened to feedback too much and that ended up hurting themselves. But yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. Mm-hmm. Jacob and I hopped on and kind of completed some missions together because there were some missions that required you to play with a friend.
Yeah.
So
we got some new posters. Not a lot. Like I said, not a lot this week. Moana 2, we got the trailer teaser. Tuesday, I believe, was when before the trailer released. And then a new teaser trailer, which, did you see the trailer teaser?
Yes.
The poster? Mm-hmm. It was like the hook and then the oar made it 2.
Made it 2. I thought that was creative. Yeah.
I like that one. A new poster for The Umbrella Academy Season 4. A couple new posters for A Quiet Place Daily 1. We got a Dolby poster for it, and then an extended poster showing like the soundbite. And we also got a new trailer new poster for The Boys Season 4. We got a couple new trailers this week. As previously mentioned, Moana 2 releases on November 27th in theaters. It became Disney's most watched animated movie trailer ever within 24 hours.
And that beat out, I think the last one was Frozen 2, right?
I think so. It got 178 million views in 24 hours. A new trailer for Wolves, releasing September 20th in theaters, which is also one of our new announcements. Or no, one of our first looks. It's John Watts, who directed the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy. Mm-hmm. It's his new film starring George Clooney and Brad Pitt. It follows 2 lone wolf fixers assigned to the same job, and it's their first film together, Clooney and Pitt, in 16 years. Since I'm assuming Ocean's 13. That's the last one I think they're in together. We also
Is that a comedy? Because that sounds like it's a comedy.
It's like an action mostly, but the trailer was giving like some comedy to it, just with like the back and forth of like don't want to work with you and you don't want to work with me. We got a new trailer for A Family Affair, releasing June 28th on Netflix. It's a rom-com with Zac Efron, Nicole Kidman, and Joey King. We got a new trailer for The Bear Season 3. All episodes released on June 27th on Hulu. And a new trailer for The Umbrella Academy Season 4, which is the final season. Drops on Netflix on August 8th. We got one new release date, which is We Live in Time. It's described as a love story between an up-and-coming chef and a recent divorcee, starring Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. Released on October 11th, 2024 in theaters. Some new looks. We got a new look for In a Violent Nature, which is that horror film that we got the first clip. A new look at Rory Kinnear as Tom Bombadil from Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2. A new Empire magazine cover and first look for Beetlejuice. A new look at Homelander's trial in The Boys Season 4. New look at Alien Romulus. And a new look at the mystery Sith character in The Acolyte.
I am way behind on the Star Wars stuff.
It's like I said before, The Phantom Menace, and
I'm a very big Star Wars fan because my dad raised me on Star Wars.
Yeah.
But ever since, I don't know, I've gotten the same with Marvel shows. I've just gotten very behind. Disney Plus originals I've gotten so behind on because there's just so much, and I've gotten into just a lot of other stuff that I need a lot of catching up on.
Yeah.
So it's
at least with this one you don't have to watch anything before it.
True.
It's
because it's set before
episode 1.
The movies, yeah.
And it looks so good. It's getting like a mystery in there, and I've heard it's getting really good reviews.
That's good because opposed to the last few stuff.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I believe the first 2 episodes drop next Wednesday. And a couple of new announcements. We got a new movie called Fuse coming out. Follows the discovery of an unexploded World War II bomb, sparking a mass evacuation, giving the perfect cover for a heist. Theo James and Aaron Taylor Johnson will star in the new heist thriller, which sounds intriguing to me. A young Sherlock series moving forward to Amazon Prime Video, set in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock world.
Set in that
Yes,
timeline?
Guy Ritchie is set to direct, I don't know if all the episodes or some of it, and hero Phineas Tiffin is cast as 19-year-old Sherlock, which he's from the After movies. He was in the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
So it's set in the Robert Downey Jr. universe, which means
I'm assuming at least
hear about
because
the
Guy
movie for
Ritchie.
10 years and we're never going to see it.
Yeah,
Or
which
hear
by the
about
way,
the show for 10 years and never going to see it is what I'm trying to joke about.
Yeah.
I did not stick that landing.
And Susan Downey did say this week, I believe today, that Sherlock Holmes 3 is still happening sometime.
Yeah.
Which Lord knows what that's going to be.
It's still
gives me a promise that Guy Ritchie is coming back. That's why I say I'm assuming it's the same universe because it's Guy Ritchie.
Okay, you're assuming. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, at least they said he's going to direct some of the episodes. Just Cause is getting a movie based on the video game. Angel Manuel Soto, who directed Blue Beetle, will direct it. David Leitch is going to be producing, who's Bullet Train. Mike Flanagan is set to direct a new Exorcist thriller for Blumhouse. It's described as a new radical take for the franchise. Netflix is creating an animated Minecraft series. Disney Plus is going to release an Inside Out spin-off series following the Dream Productions set in Riley's brain.
Which very interesting that they announced. I wonder if that is a Disney studio working on it because Pixar laid off all those people a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And their reason for laying people off was, we're not going to focus on TV as much once Win or Lose comes out. And now we're getting another Pixar show announced after all those people.
Did we ever get Win or Lose?
It's still coming. It's still
I'll say because I haven't seen it.
It hasn't come out yet, but they're saying, well, like once that's out, they're not going to do TV shows anymore. They're not going to focus on it. So they laid all these people off, which that's a whole other discussion in itself that I won't get into. But so I hope it's Disney Studios working on that show and not Pixar, because if it's Pixar working on it, they have a lot of questions to answer about those layoffs. So
new animated sports movie with producer Stephen Curry coming out in 2026 called GOAT, and we're getting a 300 prequel series with Zack Snyder, who's in talks to direct, not confirmed, but he's in talks to direct. And that's all the new announcements and first looks and stuff we got this week, or not all of them. We'll circle back to some later.
Got me some video game announcements now. Like we've been saying, it's been a light week on news, so I included some points that I had to exclude last week for runtime. Fortnite last week did release information about plans for Chapter 5 Season 3 titled Wrecked. The south part of the map has been redesigned to match diesel punk aesthetic for the chapter. Magneto, Fallout T6, Power Armor, and the worker from Lethal Company are also skins.
I saw a little bit of video and it gave me like Mad Max vibes.
It's very Mad Max inspired. In fact, vehicle combat has been added with mods for vehicles to allow for vehicle combat, and there's a lot of cyberpunk. There's a word for it, and
Cyber steampunk. There we go.
I don't know, something punk. It's Mad Max Punk. Let's just call it Mad Max Punk because I am forgetting the words. Last week, Nintendo also announced the acquisition of Shiver Entertainment Inc. It's a game development company that is mostly responsible for porting games to other consoles. They ported Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat 1 to Switch. So they get those games running on Switch. Mortal Kombat 1 was not a great port, but Hogwarts Legacy is decent. My sister is having a good time with it. This gives them a wholly owned support system for porting third-party games to their consoles, though, which Nintendo kind of needs because when it comes to third-party Nintendo, like for the Switch, they've been doing all right, but for the Wii U, third-party kind of just left them because the Wii U just wasn't that great, and they're hit or miss when it comes to whether or not third parties will support them. So having a company that Nintendo will say, hey, we'll port your game to our system, is pretty nice, but they will still allow the company to port games to other systems, not Nintendo games to other systems. Nintendo games are still going to be Nintendo only, but they'll still allow the company to like port a PC game to Xbox or whatever. So that's cool. The Nintendo also announced plans to open a new Nintendo store in San Francisco at Union Square. So that'll be 2 Nintendo stores open in the United States, the other one being in New York.
Yeah.
Monday the 27th, Dragon Quest released a teaser for their next HD 2D project. Presumably the HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III that was revealed 2-ish years ago.
Yeah.
HD 2D is basically a pixel art game with realistic lighting, and things are 3D, just a tiny bit 3D, where it gives the game depth. Very pretty looking games. And the fact that Dragon Quest III, which is considered like one of the best Dragon Quest games, is getting an HD 2D remake is pretty cool. I'm going to talk about a leak for a second, because it's from a leaker that I think is very, very reliable. Midori is their like online name. Midori stated that the game will likely be revealed fully in the Nintendo Direct that has been stated to happen sometime this month or sometime in June. So we'll see more information on that. I saw rumblings, not from a leaker, just some people making like educated guesses that they might have decided to remake the whole, I think the original, like the first 3 games. And so you'll be buying the original trilogy remade instead of just the 3rd game, which is why it might have been 2 years since the announcement. Because the announcement trailer looked like it was pretty close to, like, they showed, full working gameplay and areas in the game and stuff. So the fact that it's been 2 years is a little weird. So we'll see why it's been 2 years sometime this month, if the leaker is to be believed. Monday the 27th, a new teaser trailer for Black Ops 6 released. Wednesday the 29th, a new trailer for Homelander and Mortal Kombat 1 released. We also got a Legend of Zelda 2-in-1 Lego set of the Great Deku Tree announced for a September 1st release at $299.99.
Yes.
You can build both the Deku Tree from Breath of the Wild and the Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time. And they both have a lot of little different Easter eggs. You get minifigures of Link from Breath of the Wild, Zelda from Breath of the Wild, and then adult and young Link from Ocarina of Time, as well as building little, like when you do Breath of the Wild, I noticed you can build some NPCs that are like the little woodland creatures out of the spare Lego parts, which is very cool because some of those are like Easter eggs on, There's one if you climb to the top of the tree and get on it, because the tree's alive. If you climb to the top of the tree and get on his head, there's a little guy up there. They actually have you build that area too, which is really cool.
I love that.
But if you build the Ocarina of Time version, you use the spare pieces to build Link's house from the game, which is a little like tree house so you have like an extra little separate mini build that kind of like the Lego Seinfeld set came with his stand-up stage.
Yeah.
And that can be displayed separately. So that's kind of how the Ocarina of Time one works, where you have that little build that can be separate. So that's pretty cool.
I feel like that's going to be like the DeLorean where I want to get 2 of them. I build both of them.
I'm very excited. Now, I'm not going to do that because
that's crazy amount of money.
I might as well buy a PS5 with, if I'm spending that much, but but I'm very excited for that. Maybe someday I'll have that. I hope. Because
when does it drop? June 1st?
September 1st.
September 1st.
So
not June 1st. Duh.
This past Thursday on the 30th, PlayStation also hosted a State of Play with 14 game announcements and updates. So we'll blast on through these. Stop me if you find any of these interesting. A new gameplay trailer and release date for the 5v5 shooter Concord. God of War Ragnarok releases on PC on September 19th this year.
I saw that.
The next entry in the Dynasty Warriors series, Dynasty Warriors Origins, is announced for a release in 2025. Are you familiar with Dynasty Warriors? Mm-hmm. So that is a game where you're like one dude and you have like just hundreds of people coming after you, and it's just slashing through
as much as you can,
and doing combos and completing missions. And you're in a war zone, so you're like swapping between characters to overtake boundaries. And pretty like satisfying game to play. Like turn your brain off and just kill people. It's pretty fun. The upcoming open world RPG Infinity Nikki got a trailer and is planned for a closed beta in Q3 of this year. I believe the director of that game used to do some direction and puzzle design for the Zelda series, so that's cool. The upcoming game Where Winds Meet was announced in 2023. It will be releasing on PS5. We still don't have a solid release date. We just know it's coming to PS5 now. A free-to-play RPG titled Ballad of Antara releases in 2025. It kind of looked like your standard realistic fantasy fare to me, anyway. Behemoth, the next game from Skydance, who developed Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, releases in 2025 on PSVR 2. Also coming to PSVR 2 is the new Alien game, Alien Rogue Incursion. That comes this holiday. The upcoming MMO game Marvel Rivals, which is just Marvel Overwatch.
Yeah.
If you want to like give it some kind of comparative description, it's coming into PS5. A closed beta is going to be happening in July. So if you're interested in that, see if you can find out how to join that closed beta. The enhanced release of Until Dawn, there's the interactive movie thing I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It received a trailer. It's still slated for a fall 2024 release, but nothing specific. It looks nice. They updated the visuals. Later this year, Path of Exile 2 will release to early access. We also got a release date trailer for Silent Hill 2. It comes out on October 8th, 2024, remake of the classic game. It looks like
for Halloween.
I saw someone, I can't remember the name of the Twitter user now, but they did a thread where they were pointing out little differences. So the game had concept art, the original game had concept art of enemies that went unused. And so but the enemies were still in the game. It's just the designs weren't used. Those designs are now being used for earlier in the game, and the original designs that were in the game are being used for later in the game as the world gets sicklier and sicklier because your character's mind is deteriorating. So that's cool. I think that's a cool way to bring in cut content is by doing it that way. I did see like there's a mannequin enemy that on the front cover of the original game, they were all on the ceiling, but there's no part in the game where they are in the ceiling. They added later in the game, if you come across a mannequin, they will climb the walls.
Oh, no.
Dude.
I don't do devil stuff. Nope.
It is.
No, sir.
And different things like that. They also changed the game so where it doesn't break the Geneva Conventions. So the original game, if you needed the heal, a red cross would appear in the corner.
Yeah.
And so now a red mist appears and the outline of a cross is made.
Yeah.
They're towing the line using the color red, but it no longer... it's so funny when games accidentally do that. Like Stardew Valley did that when the game first released. In the doctor's office, there was a poster with a red cross on it that they had to take down because it broke the Geneva Conventions.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when that happens because you don't think about it and you're like, well, yeah, I guess that, you can't do that. Monster Hunter Wilds was given a new trailer. That looks decent. The graphics are just out of this world. I like the new character designs and the new monster designs. Pretty cool. And finally, we got a new Astrobot game from Team Asobi. The 3D platformer arrives on PS5 on September 6th. Looks nice.
Yes.
Looks
awesome.
Like the little demo game that came with the PS5. It looks like it's going to have a lot of references to PlayStation games throughout the years.
Oh, you're literally flying a literal.
So I wonder if the game's going to be like a
interactive kind of,
not interactive, a love letter to PlayStation, where every world has kind of.
I think Astrobot in and of itself is a love letter.
Mm-hmm. I'm just glad that Sony is giving us an original that isn't samey. Not that the games are samey, the graphics are samey. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad we're getting something a little cartoony and cutesy that the PS5 can show off what it's capable of beyond realistic. So
It's kind of like a turn your brain off one as well. Only it's
that's cool. Two more extra notes. Originally slated for 2024, the upcoming indie horror game Little Nightmares 3 has been delayed to 2025, according to a statement released by the developer Supermassive Games. This was done to ensure that the game receives, quote, the care and love it deserves. So for those of you who are excited for Little Nightmares 3, you have to wait a little longer.
I didn't see that.
Earlier this year, developer Toys for Bob detached itself from its owners, Activision, and made the decision to go indie. I'm pretty sure this was due to the layoffs that were happening when Activision was bought by Microsoft. They are, however, partnering with Microsoft to publish their first game, which is in early development, so we won't hear much from that for a while.
Let me see talk about some new castings this week.
Talk about some new casting. I'm pretty sure it's only the one thing, right?
It's a couple. It's a little more small ones.
Okay.
We'll end with that one. So the live action Masters of the Universe movie has cast its He-Man. I don't know if you saw that.
That's right.
Nicholas Galitzine, he's hot and popping right now. He was in Red, White, and Royal Blue. Project Hail Mary, directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller of the Lego Movie fame, starring Ryan Gosling, cast Sandra Hüller this week. It follows a man who wakes up from a coma afflicted with amnesia and soon remembers he was sent 12 light years away from Earth to save humanity. Gareth Edwards' new Jurassic World movie has cast Mahershala Ali. Welcome to Derry, the It prequel series releasing on Max in 2025, announced this week that Bill Skarsgård will be returning as Pennywise.
Okay.
Chris Hemsworth is in talks to star in the live-action Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover, which I saw that and I'm like, he's also voicing Optimus Prime.
Would that mean
in
he's starring in it
1.
as a person, or is he starring in it as they're bringing him back for Optimus Prime?
I would assume as a person because, and I'm assuming since Peter Cullen is still Optimus Prime in
that they'll bring Peter Cullen back. True,
they
better.
Yeah, and I think they might keep Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime in that little
corner
animated Transformers one, which does look pretty good. And then the big casting we got this week, which I jokingly said we will keep getting every day, and we actually did.
Yeah, he texted me Monday and was like, watch this be just little by little every day. It was little by little every day.
It truly was. Last week, I don't think we mentioned it, but they announced the Knives Out 3 title is officially Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Daniel Craig will be returning as Benoit Blanc. Ryan Johnson is returning to direct and co-wrote. We got some casting announced this week.
Ooh.
Have you heard all these?
I don't know if I paid all that much attention. I'll be honest.
Like
I saw the casting thing. I was like, Jade will update me on that.
Oh yeah. So Kaylee Spaney is going to be in it. She was in Priscilla, Civil War, and the upcoming Alien Romulus. She's really good in Priscilla. Snubbed for an Oscar nom. Josh O'Connor, coming off of Challengers and La Chimera. Those were the first two announced Monday together. And then Tuesday, it was announced that Andrew Scott is joining the cast from All of Us Strangers, Fleabag, and the new Ripley show. Wednesday, it was announced that Kerry Washington of Scandal and the School of Good and Evil was announcing it. And also Wednesday, Glenn Close is going to be in it.
It's exciting. They've always got this is only the third movie, but they always have one. There's always one where it's like a legacy person.
Oh yeah. I'm real excited for that. Thursday, Jeremy Renner was announced to be it.
Very excited
which
to see
continues
Jeremy
the
Renner
trend
in
of
something.
like Chris Evans was in the first one, and you got Edward Norton and Dave Bautista in the second one. Now Jeremy Renner. That same day, Mila Kunis was announced as joining the cast. And then yesterday, the last one, as of right now, Daryl McCormick was cast. He's from Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Peaky Blinders, and the upcoming The Woman in the Wall.
Got some This Week in History stuff for us.
Hit me.
So Sunday the 26th was the 29th anniversary of the live-action Casper and the 13th anniversary of Kung Fu Panda 2.
Yes.
And the
Gary Oldman makes a good villain.
So Kung Fu Panda 2 is the best one.
Oh, 100%.
It has the most Furious 5.
Yeah.
And it gives Poe a lot of depth. I'm about to say a hot take about the Kung Fu Panda series. I think having his dad be alive ruined the point.
It might have. Might have.
I
I
don't.
don't necessarily think it's a bad movie.
I
compared
don't
to
think it's.
3.
I don't think 3 is a bad movie, and I don't think that it's a bad character. The rest of the like, I just feel like you spend this whole movie of him coming into acceptance and coming to peace with with his past,
Yeah.
only for like half of the reason that he's like needs to come to peace for it to still be alive.
It's just
But
there.
that decision gave us Bryan Cranston
That is true.
as Poe's dad,
That
which
is true.
it's also the 53rd anniversary of the John Wayne movie Big Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Monday the 27th was the 30th anniversary of the live-action Flintstones and the 60th anniversary of the U.S. release of From Russia with Love, the James Bond movie.
I need to watch all the classic James Bonds.
It is also the 2nd anniversary of the Bob's Burgers movie. I just wanted to bring that one up
Yes.
because I love Bob's Burgers. The Bob's Burgers movie didn't do well in box office, and I honestly feel like it was a poor timing decision
Yeah.
because it was the first Memorial Day after COVID, and
Yeah.
so people
That was
were
actually able to be
still very
celebrated.
jumpy about going to the theaters.
Let me just quote.
And Disney did, and it was also in development during the Disney acquisition of Fox, so it had a
Yeah.
lot of different issues. Where I was
Isn't-
Lucky Ducks is great.
And Sunnyside.
Sunny Side Up Summer, goated
Oh, yeah.
with the sauce.
I just need to quote. Keep that in.
Okay.
I just need to quote something from Bob's Burgers real quick. Okay, we're done.
Was that The Grudge or?
It's Tina.
Okay.
The
I knew what
Grudge.
you were doing, but
Yeah.
Monday the 27th was also the 38th anniversary of Dragon Quest, which is why they made that announcement because it's the anniversary day. Tuesday the 28th was Sylvester Stallone Day because it is the 31st anniversary of Cliffhanger and the 42nd anniversary of Rocky 3. Wednesday the 29th was the 15th anniversary of Up and the 70th anniversary of Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder.
Up still makes me cry to this day.
My dad has not watched it. He keeps saying, well, we
gonna
need to sit
show
down and
him?
watch it. But when it first came out, he was like, well, everyone tells me it's sad. I don't want to cry watching it. It's like, yes, the first 15 minutes is an Oscar-winning movie. And then you have another hour and a half
Of like action.
It's
Treasure hunting. Kind of not really, but
yes and no.
yeah.
Yeah.
But still.
Wednesday the 29th was also the 10th anniversary of Mario Kart 8, which means it's been 10 years since we've had an original console release. We did get the mobile game, but
Yeah.
because they just re-released Mario Kart 8 on Switch, and they've been updating that one. So it's been a long time since we had a new Mario Kart. It's also the 25th anniversary of what is considered one of the worst games of all time, Superman 64. I don't know if you've ever seen
never
reviews
seen
of it online
no.
or anything. It is one of those. It is a quintessential review. Like if you were if you review video games on YouTube, you probably reviewed Superman 64 to make all the jokes everyone else makes. It's just a really bad game. You need to look up Superman 64 and watch some reviews on YouTube. It's so bad. And then they made a Aquaman game for GameCube, and it's just that game reskinned. Like they thought that was a good idea, which only brought down Aquaman even more probably because that was around the time Aquaman. I mean, everyone just loves the crap on Aquaman.
Yeah.
Thursday the 30th was the 5th anniversary of Parasite, the 10th anniversary of Maleficent,
5 years ago.
and the 15th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts 365 over 2 days. Friday the 31st was the 5th anniversary of Godzilla, King of Monsters, and Rocket Man. And Saturday,
Rocket Man is so good.
Saturday, June 1st was the 25th anniversary of the PS1 game Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. I didn't see a whole lot of like movies that released on June 1st.
It's that weird
It was
post
just
Memorial
kind of
Day
a weird
weekend.
timing thing there. But that's my week in history this week.
Nice. Should I keep it retro by talking about Me TV tunes?
Yeah, if we want to go into that because that's a good talking point.
Oh yeah. It starts on June 25th. It's Me TV. They show like classic sitcoms, but then this is their new channel with showing classic cartoons. They announced the schedule this week, the lineup, or they already announced the lineup. You said, and they should announce the schedule. I'm not going to say like actual times because that would be a lot, and I'm not going to repeat any. But starting at 6 a.m. Mondays through Fridays, you got Captain Planet and the Planeteers, Police Academy, the animated series, The Real Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, Bugs Bunny and Friends, The Underdog Show, Inspector Gadget, The Smurfs, The Peter Potamus Show, Wacky Races / The Perils of Penelope Pit Stop, Yogi Bear, Adam Ant / Secret Squirrel, Cartoon All-Stars, which features Woody Pecker, Popeye, Mr. Magoo, Tom and Jerry, Droopy, and Casper, followed by Casper and Company, Popeye and Pals, The Woody Woodpecker Show, The Tom and Jerry Show, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, The Jetsons, The Flintstones, which I believe we've gotten into prime time now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these have like 2 episodes, so it's like an hour's worth.
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny and Friends, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends, Tune In With Me, Speed Racer, Marine Boy, The Mask, Thunderbirds, Supercar, Captain Scarlet, Joe 90, and Fireball XL5. Saturday, starting at 6 a.m., we got Alf, the animated series, Alf Tales, Captain Planet, The Planeteers, Hysteria, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, Top Cat, Johnny Quest, The Underdog Show, Wacky Races, Josie and the Pussycats, The Real Ghostbusters, Police Academy, the animated series, The Mask, The Peter Potamus Show, Adam Ant / Secret Squirrel, Yogi Bear, The Woody Woodpecker Show, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends, The Flintstones, Bugs Bunny and Friends, Cartoon All-Stars, Duck Dodgers, Two Stupid Dogs, same.
Dude, have you ever watched Two Stupid Dogs?
No.
Oh, it's so funny. There's this
Seems
reoccurring
like what we got
there's this
left.
reoccurring character in it where like the dogs that do something you're like, that's so cute, but wrong. And then like berates them for being stupid.
Yeah.
It's such a good. It was one of my when Boomerang was like still what Me TV Tunes is basically what Boomerang used to be.
Yeah.
When Boomerang was what it used to be.
It's like 24/7 cartoons.
Two Stupid Dogs was 24/7 retro cartoons.
Retro cartoons, yeah.
Which shaped the person I am today.
Yeah.
And how I love animation and stuff.
Two Stupid Dogs and Secret Squirrel. Steven Spielberg presents Freakazoid. The Mask, The Real Ghostbusters, Challenge of the GoBots, The Completely Mental Misadventures of Ed Grimley, and Mr. T. And then Sunday, starting at 6 a.m., you got Alf Tales, The Greatest Adventures, Stories from the Bible, Inspector Gadget, The Tom and Jerry Show, Casper and Company, The Woody Woodpecker Show, The Underdog Show, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends, Bugs Bunny and Friends, Flintstones Family Sunday, Scooby-Doo Sunday Specials, The Smurfs, The Jetsons, Top Cat, Johnny Quest, Sunday Night Cartoon All-Stars, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, Totally Tuned In, Speed Racer, Marine Boy, The Real Ghostbusters, and Beetlejuice. And a lot of those are like 2-hour blocks.
Yeah, and the thing about Wait Till Your Father Gets Home is that is probably a precursor to like Flintstones made the animated sitcom what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wait Till Your Father Gets Home was made for a more mature audience,
Yeah.
and it didn't last very long. But it can be seen as like if Flintstones is the grandfather, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home is the father of the adult animated sitcom. So like Family Guy, Simpsons, and stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, it's very much of its time, but it's funny, you know. But the great thing about MeTV Tunes is like MeTV, it is a free bunny ear
Cable
channel. If you have Friendly TV, I believe MeTV's on there, so I would assume MeTV Tunes is also coming to Friendly TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty cool. I'm very excited. It's one of those things where I might be able to turn that on and just in the background and work on stuff.
Yeah.
This year's a good year for like 4-year-old me. We're getting a channel that's like Boomerang. We got Paper Mario. We got Garfield. You know, all we need is like...
Make a prediction.
All we need is what else came out in 2004. We don't have to Google anything. all we need is like Wind Waker to come to Switch or something. That's not 2004, but that's still like young me.
Yeah.
Get Wind Waker on Switch and
get like the Spider-Man movie tie-in games.
Yeah, maybe.
On Switch.
Or
I guess it'd be PlayStation, but
do a remaster of the old Nicktoons games.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I got some anime and comic news if I can do one after the other because there's only like, I think 5 or 6 notes between the two.
And I don't got much in terms of Marvel and DC news either this week.
Start with some anime. Warner Brothers Japan announced the sequel to Batman Ninja is in development. Sakamoto Days is getting an anime adaptation. It's going to release in January 2025. We got like a little teaser trailer and some screenshots and stuff. Sakamoto Days is about a hitman who falls in love, so he retires. And then years later, he's now running a convenience store. He has a daughter. He's very fat now. He's like got a dad body. And Dad body. Who says that full out? Not dad
Yeah,
bod.
just dad bod.
Yeah, whatever. But it's very the manga's funny.
I feel like I might like that one.
We also I'm gonna get you to watch an anime yet. The Tomb Raider anime releases on Netflix on October 10th. As far as comics go, May 31st, comicbook.com gave us a first look at Spider-Man Reign 2 issue 1, which releases July 3rd, and that's basically like Spider-Man 30 years in the future. The fact that it's getting a sequel is surprising because I was under the impression that Spider-Man Reign 1 was not
Like a
very
standalone
good.
thing. Oh, yeah.
It's basically trying to do what The Dark Knight Returns did for Batman, but with Spider-Man. We also got first look at covers for Jean Grey's Phoenix, issue 1, which releases July 17th. And as far as DC goes, not a whole lot because a lot of their big stuff was last week. I did see that thing where Harley Quinn is like immortal now or something. DC gave us a preview to the kids targeted graphic novel Barkham Asylum about the pets of Batman's Rogues Gallery in a pound. It actually it looks cute.
I kind of want to read that.
Like I want to say, I'm not even going to try to attempt to remember what all the animals were, but Bane has like a bulldog, and Joker has a hyena, and so it looks cute.
Of course,
But
Joker has a hyena.
that's comics and anime. That is all this week, and they've been light before, but it was just really light this week.
Yeah. We were really light on the movie and TV side. In DC, we only got one. It's just that they announced that Joker Folie à Deux will likely premiere at the Venice Film Festival in September, which the first one won the Golden Lion there when it came out, which is like the best picture of the Venice Film Festival.
Yeah.
In Marvel news, we got Giancarlo Esposito. He will play a villain in Captain America: Brave New World.
Big surprise.
Yep.
He's been cast as a villain.
But
I
he
wonder
said
if
it's
it's
like
just
one
going to be
that's, like,
playing Gus
big.
again.
He's good at playing villains, though.
He is.
But it's just...
But he's
anything
not.
else?
His villains aren't very. They just. It's like he
They're
did
there
Gus,
and
and
they're
everyone's
gone.
like, "We need you to play Gus, but with a different name."
Exactly.
So
But I'm excited for it. We got our weekly Venom: The Last Dance news.
awesome.
That's mine. And it's literally just the first trailer has been rated and is ready for release.
Cool.
Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Who knows? We'll probably talk about Venom: The Last Dance will probably worm its way in our feed next week somehow. I don't know how. It's always these small stuff.
They got to keep it
in.
in the timeline, man.
Exactly.
You know, everyone's kind of been like, "Oh yeah, Venom, that's a thing." So
They'll
you
take
know,
a week off whenever they release the trailer, and the next week it'd be like, "Oh, guess what? Trailer 2 is coming."
it's like
X this
Spider-Man
time.
2 came out, like the game Spider-Man 2 came out, and the Venom fever just kind of plummeted after that. Like everyone was like, "Okay, got my Venom fix."
Yeah.
And so Venom Last Dance is just doing its best to stay relevant.
Yeah.
So
Quite possibly the biggest one, which is no fault of its own, of this week in Deadpool and Wolverine. The popcorn bucket was revealed. Have you seen it?
I have.
It is a Wolverine's head with a wide open mouth and also has a tongue on it too, which
Look,
they let Ryan Reynolds design it himself.
and look, Ryan Reynolds, funny guy. This wasn't.
As I'm over here.
Have
dying.
you ever seen a joke immediately ruined by a corporation?
Oh yeah.
This is what this was.
Ryan
Even
Reynolds
if Ryan
said this is
Reynolds,
going to be the year of the popcorn buckets
if
between Dune 2.
even if Ryan Reynolds was in charge of it, I looked at it and I immediately felt dead on the inside.
I'm gonna get it for sure.
Oh, of course you are.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna use it.
Look, Dune. What I don't even want to talk about it too much. This whole topic is. So we've got 2 celebrity deaths this week.
We got 2 celebrity deaths this week. One, Bill Walton. He was 71. He was a former NBA star turned basketball broadcaster.
Big Red.
Yep, died this week. And Johnny Wachter, who was 37, he was known for playing Brando Corbin on General Hospital. He was shot and killed in an alleged attempted robbery while people were trying to steal. This group of guys was trying to steal his catalytic converter, which is tragic.
Yeah.
My sources this week were Entertainment Weekly, as per usual. I went to the MeTV website to get the lineup, as well as Discussing Film. Once again, well, this is going to be like a Steve. Well, most of my news comes from Discussing Film. Twitter. Deadline gave me some TV news, and then Movie Insider gave me the movie releases that are coming out this week. Thank you. Shout out to them.
My sources this week were Discussing Film, comicbook.com, Nintendo Life, IGN, Variety, Game Rant, and all official sites and socials for the studios talked about this week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on to our new tier list for the month of June.
New month, new tier list.
We are now doing, so Jay has never played a Legend of Zelda game.
Nope.
He barely knows anything about Legend of Zelda games beyond maybe names of the Switch ones.
The only ones I know are Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I had to think about that last one. And I know of Ocarina of Time. I don't know anything that happens in them. To be honest with you, whenever you guys were big in Smash, I didn't know Ganondorf was a villain until for a solid 2 years.
Yeah, so because Jay
thought
was
for most of my life, I thought Zelda was the dude from the game.
He legitimately, I remember the first conversation we had where I was telling him about Legend of Zelda, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it was weird that his name is Zelda," and I'm like, "Okay, you were about to get educated."
This is what it's gonna be.
So we have to keep in mind when we have conversations like this that Jay was not born a gamer. He was adopted into the gamer family by his friends.
Shout out to Chronister, who gave me my first Switch and PS4, and now I was PS5 day one release.
He's gone a far way from the 14-year-old who said, "Hey, so can I play?" I can't remember what massive console game on my 3DS to probably being more knowledgeable about PlayStation stuff than me. So, but our tier list this month is going to be Jay ranking the Legend of Zelda games based on a description, 2 screenshots, and gameplay and the title, and a little. In the description, I'll give you some gameplay things.
Yeah. Purely off of vibes I get from it.
Yeah, purely off of vibes. So we'll see how well this goes.
Yeah. This might anger and it might please some of you Legend of Zelda fans out there. Forewarning, I'm clueless when it comes to this.
So, which I think is going to make it absolutely hilarious. So we have 33 games to go through here over the course of the month. And we're going in ABC order because that is how the tier list placed it for me. Not release order, which will make it better because you're not going to see
I'm not going to think
the evolution
of
the series
graphics and all that.
Yeah, so we are going to start with A Link to the Past.
I've heard of it.
Which is the Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda game. And this follows Link, who is called by the voice of Zelda into the castle, which has been in siege by monsters. Mm-hmm. And he is sent to collect these items and stop this evil wizard from resurrecting Ganon, the Demon King. So here's some screenshots. I got screenshot 1 for you there.
Okay.
And screenshot 2 for you there. So Super Nintendo, top down, you get different items that you can equip to buttons. You get a boomerang, you get a lantern, get different things like that.
I'm very afraid of angering people with whatever I say.
Don't you worry about it.
Should I say what my instinct was?
Yeah.
B.
B? Alrighty.
B.
We will put that in B. Middle. A Link to the Past.
I'm so terrified right now.
A Link to the Past is middle of the road. You heard it here first,
no!
folks. Next, we have Breath of the Wild.
Okay. This is probably the one I know most.
This was the first Zelda game on Nintendo Switch. It was a launch title. Link wakes up 100 years in the future after getting serious injuries from a war 100 years in the past with total amnesia, and is called by the voice of Zelda to resurrect the powers of these giant mechanical monsters and fight Ganon, who instead of being a creature or a person is now just pure evil, like as a spirit. And it's open world. You get a lot of weapons. Weapons break as you collect them, so you have to get more weapons. A lot of stealth. You get a lot of armor, side quest characters to talk to. The first Zelda series to have full voice acting. Mm-hmm. So there's one screenshot and another screenshot.
See, my gut was saying A.
A?
Because it seems like a game that I like. It's most like a game. Hold on, don't put an A yet.
Okay.
It seems like a game that I'll most play it similar to what I play now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say S.
You're gonna say S?
Because I didn't know about the gameplay until just now.
So Breath of the Wild, S tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very in line with the kind of games you play.
That's probably also the most bias that I know. That's the most I know about going into it before you tell me anything, is that right there.
So we've got Breath of the Wild there. Next, we have Cadence of Hyrule. Now, this one is interesting. It was made by an indie game developer. Nintendo allowed them to make this. It's a top-down Zelda game like Link to the Past, but it is a rhythm game. Everything you do has to be done to the rhythm of the music. And so we've got it released on Switch. We've got some screenshots for you here. The plot is that the character from Crypt of the Necrodancer has been brought to the Zelda universe, and normal Zelda shenanigans. Ganon's up to no good. You got to go stop him, and music is involved this time. I think there's also like a music themed villain that's also a part of it. I think he wants to. It usually comes down to reviving Ganon.
Yeah.
This is probably the most wrong I've been because Cadence of Hyrule is the plot. I should have looked that up. Anyway, so we got those screenshots there.
So I don't really want to say it. My gut, my instinct, D.
D?
But the rhythm, I kind of like, I have to play it to a rhythm. I'll say C.
You're going to say C? All right. Cadence of Hyrule goes in C. Next, we got...
So terrified.
So this is... Okay, so this is going to be a little confusing.
Mm.
So we have Four Swords Adventures is next. This came out on the GameCube in 2004. And this was a 4-player Legend of Zelda game that also required you to use your Game Boy Advance as a separate screen. So when you went inside buildings and stuff, it would be on your screen. Every player was a different Link who has been split into 4 by a sword called the Four Sword. And he is stopping a villain named Vati, an air spirit, from taking down...
I have a gut reaction, but I want to hear you out.
We got a couple screenshots here. So different things can happen where it's like you have to go inside or get to your Game Boy Advance to like avoid bombs going off, and solving puzzles that require 4 people. And
my gut said too complicated, gives me anxiety. D.
D. Alrighty, we can put that in D then.
I'm so terrified. Is this wrong?
I'm not saying anything.
I know. Don't tell me anything until.
So now we have 4 swords.
You need to tell me how wrong I am at the end of the month.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I will. So now we have Four Swords, which is a Game Boy Advance game that came out 2 years before Four Swords Adventures. Zelda has been kidnapped by Vati. I believe Vati is the villain in this as well. And you must split yourself into 4 and solve puzzles controlling the 4 links on your Game Boy. It's basically Link to the Past, but you have 4 links to control. And I could only find one screenshot of it. So there's that.
I say D. It still stresses me out.
Alrighty.
Too complicated. I'm stupid. I realize I have not been talking to the microphone. We put it in D because it stressed me out. I'm stupid, and I need it to be very simple for me to be able to play it.
Now we have Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. So it's Dynasty Warriors, but with Legend of Zelda characters. This one is specifically about the war that happened 100 years before Breath of the Wild.
History, I like it.
And you get to play as a lot of different characters from that specific Zelda timeline. We got some screenshots here. So you're just taking down hordes of enemies. You can even play as Zelda, which is nice.
Is that Zelda?
Yep.
Okay, that looked like Link. Showing how little I know. I thought that was Link.
Nope, that is Zelda.
I'm gonna say A tier because history. I really like history.
A tier. Alrighty. So we'll put.
It's giving A.
Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. And now we also have Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, which is, there was Hyrule Warriors, and then there was Hyrule Warriors Legends, which was on 3DS, but it was the same game, just on 3DS with a couple extra characters and missions. So this is all of that combined into one definitive game. It is a hodgepodge of Zelda. All the different Zelda games are being ran together by some witch who wants revenge on...
It's like multiverse.
It's like a multiverse Zelda game, so it's like a love letter. You get to play as a lot of different beloved Zelda characters from all sorts of different games. We got some screenshots there.
I'm going to say S.
S?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Multiverse intrigues me.
We got our last game of the day before we wrap up. A Link Between Worlds. This is a direct sequel to A Link to the Past that was released on 3DS. And most of these games are separate links because it's all like different parts in the timeline. Link just reincarnates, or however you want to explain it,
Yeah.
to be the hero every time, but it's a different Link every time. So this Link, different from the last Link, from Link to the Past, and from Link Between Worlds Link is a apprentice of a blacksmith. He is asked to bring a sword to a knight, and when he brings the sword to the knight, he finds that the knight has been defeated by a villain who has turned, who is turning the seven sages into paintings, and is also after Zelda to turn her into a painting, and trying to defend the kingdom. Link is turned into a painting, but thanks to a bracelet that is given to him, he is able to switch back and forth between going to paintings, which can also be done to go into portals that switch back and forth between Hyrule and Lorule.
Mm-hmm.
And so Link must save Zelda and the seven sages and prevent this bad guy from doing whatever plot he wants to do. And I'll get some screenshots here for you. So there's that. And then...
See, I was going to say, is the 7 people in paintings, are they like goals? Are you allowed to tell me this because of
they're goals? So you have 7 dungeons, but they can be done in any order you want, as long as you have the tool you need to get to the dungeon, which you can do by going to a shop and either renting or buying that item. So you can rent the item, use it for the dungeon you need, and don't have to pay the full. But then that means you won't have the item at all times. That kind of thing.
So I'm a completionist, and so you said 7. That gave me like 7 goals to go to.
And like 120 little other things. Like there's like little side quests. You just go out through all the world, find little puzzles and hidden things, slowly building up your health and your items getting stronger and different things like that.
I'm going to say A.
A tier?
A.
All right. So we have A Link Between Worlds at A tier. So to recap, it's S tier is Breath of the Wild and Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. A is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and A Link Between Worlds. B is A Link to the Past. C is Cadence of Hyrule. And D is Four Swords Adventures and Four Swords.
I think we have a general consensus here with the D tier. If it's too complicated, I will not like it.
Yeah. If it hurts Jay's brain, he's probably going to rank it low. But...
Exactly. If I have to think too much, you got to split into 4 and then like go to this other thing. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's definitely a very early 2000s Nintendo game. Like,
yeah.
That's just it. You know, they're throwing anything at the wall and seeing if it would stick. So,
yeah.
But
innovative. I give them that.
Yeah. Using your Game Boy as a second screen. I mean,
yeah,
pretty kind of cool. I mean, you still had to buy like an extra thing to hook your Game Boy to it, but
yeah, more money. E tier.
Yeah. Anyway,
I've created my new tier.
So that will be it for this week.
That's it. We'll have some more next week. We got some big stuff coming.
Relatively shorter episode, but it was light on. This week was kind of a nothing burger. So,
yeah.
You know, but yeah, you can find. I don't think we said this part last week. You can find me, Tristan Stump, at Sir Stumpsalot or at Sir Stumpsalot17 on most social medias. You can find Jay at PoThePanda001 on Twitter, and you can find the podcast at Mondays for Nerds on most social medias. We hope you join us next Monday.
We're to talk about some more stuff, some big stuff coming.
Yeah, next week ought to be a little more packed because there's some stuff, a lot of big stuff happening that weekend. So we will see you all next time.
Goodbye.
They're gonna kill you in the comments, man.